Hey everybody, Scruffed here. Welcome back to the channel. Hope you're all doing really well. We're back at it, and this time around we're looking at beef stock or beef cows, and we've got the two breeds. We've got Limousin and Angus, and we're going to be asking a simple question, which is how much money do beef stock make in the game? Now, with this one, I have been scratching my head at. I actually wanted the video to come out probably like a day sooner than this, but I've just been going over the numbers again and also focusing on, the breeding plan, you could say, so the kind of the rotation of it, and trying to find out a really important question. And when you see the numbers, it'll kind of just validate that, which is when's the best time to sell these cows? It's difficult to answer that one because I personally think we need a few tweaks and a few changes from Giants to get it a little bit more realistic. I think if I was playing a mod map tomorrow, I'd make a few changes because I know the way it works in the base game files is it's locked, so I can't get access to the animal XML that's on Riverbend Springs or even Zilonka or on Hutan That basically the base games are locked away, so I can't look at any of the animal information, change any of the animal information. But when we get a modded map, that'll be different. We can get an animal XML in that, and then from that I can adjust the best times or the best prices we see the cow at, because it's not realistic. And that's the problem I'm finding. So when I'm doing this video to try and give you all the numbers, and then you can go forward with that information, decide yourself when the best time to sell if you're doing breeding stock. I'd prefer it if it's realistic. So I think in the UK, and I can only speak for the UK because I don't have knowledge outside of the UK when it comes to beef cattle. But I think it's about 18 to 24 months on average is when farmers going to sell his beef stock and it's not even taken on age, really. It's taken on conditions, so the weight of the cow. Now, you could have a different breed that's more hardy, more bulky of a breed, so it kind of bulks up quicker, so they might go actually younger because they've hit that desired weight. It'd be amazing if we had a mod that comes to the game. You never know. Could happen in FS25. We see one where we start seeing like kilogram weights of cows, and depending on what you're feeding them, you hit that kind of perfect weight. Or if you've got like a TMR mix for a cow, then it could get up to, I don't know, like say 900 kilograms for that cow. And the value is then determined on the weight, not on the age of the cow. That would be ideal, because then you can condition them to a certain point in selling them. Now, the other issue I found is cows reproduce, and even though that's a vital thing for breeding cows for meat, so that's the whole point. We're reproducing our beef stock out. We don't want to reproduce the ones that we're conditioning. So, for example, these cows here on my first round of 25 that have come from my original breeding stock there of 25. So yeah, see it like that. They're my breeding stock of 25. When they drop their first calf, which is 27 months old, 25 go in here to get conditioned, and then we sell them at the right weight, or as it is in the game, the right age. Then from them, though, they can also rear. We don't want them to rear. They're just our conditioning beef stock. It'd be nice if there was a way of just turning off automatic reproduction, or ideally it'd be realistic in the game and we could sell them at around 18 months, so they wouldn't even be reproducing anyway. And that's where my problems lie. So take the numbers from this video, come up with your own conclusion that relates more to your situation and your save game. And yeah, from that, you can just see how much you're going to make and what price the cow will sell for at a certain month. I'll explain at the end when I show my example of what I would do as a PC player, and the way I'm going to go about it if I ever do, a playthrough and a Let's Play series where I've got beef stock on and rearing them. I would do it one way, but I don't think you're going to be able to do that on console. Yeah, you're going to have to go with the base game, but Giants could change it. They could make some changes with something. Who knows? But anyway, let's get through the numbers and we can go from there. So if you've seen my videos before on dairy cows, I've also done the water buffalo. It's the same layout. What we're looking at here is the price of the cow, but this is more important with beef stock. In fact, this is the only income source you're going to get. There's no output products like milk. You can't do productions from anything. So this is your main source of income. So yeah, this is the important bit really when it comes to rearing cattle to sell for meat. Or you can't really sell them for meat in the game unless we get a production for it, but you know what I mean. We're selling the animal as if we're simulating it, sending it off to slaughter. So 2 points to make before we go through the numbers. All feed types except grass and meadow do the exact same. So TMR, hay and silage are the exact same. There's no benefits from TMR when it comes to price, but there is a downside when you're doing grass and meadow. yeah, the productivity of the cow, it's like measured from 0 to 100% to 100%. That is obviously diminished at 0%. Should be at 40, that's what it says, but we're not seeing that currently. That could get fixed and then the price would go up, I imagine. But right now, it is 0%. And then the second point is about the breeds of the cows. We've got 2 breeds for meat, which is the Limousin and the Angus. There is no difference between the two. Same price, same feed, everything's the exact same. So all I'm going to do is just go over one. We'll start with the Angus because it's at the top, but it's the exact same for Limousin. So when we buy the cow, even though it's $250 if we're getting it delivered, or it's $200 if we purchase it and then collect it, they drop down to £92 for a newborn, basically. 6 months they're $922. You can see Grass and Angus is $369. 12 months is $1,615. Grass and Meadow is $646. 18 months though, they shoot up, pretty decent price. It's $2,307, and then for Grass and Meadow it's $923. And then at 24 months, which is where the kind of curve starts to decrease, which is why I think between 24 and 36 is probably the optimal time to sell. They're showing it 3,000, and then it's 1,200 for Grass and Meadow. And then they max out at month 36, so that would be 3 years old, and it's 3,500. That's the highest price you'll ever see for a beef cow in the game, and 1,400 for Grass and Meadow. Now, at 48 months, they go down to 3,000, and we are focusing on a 4-year period, so everything I'll show you, feed consumption, slurry, and all that stuff, is going to be in a 4-year period, like I've done with my other videos. So, yeah, from 36 months onwards, they start dropping down. So you've actually only got 1 month to sell at the highest price. That is the window you get. With dairy stock and water buffalo, we had a 12-month window where we'd still sit at that highest price, but it is a lot different with beef stock. It's just 1 month and it's 36. So basically at 35 months, they'll be just shy of the 3,500, and then at 37 months, they'll start dropping down, and again, they'll just be shy of 3,500. So keep that in mind. If you are trying to sell your cows at the best price possible, it's month 36, so when the cow is 3 years old. So if we move across into the breeding section, it's exactly the same what you'd expect with dairy cows. They start breeding from 18 months old. First calf at 27, then it'll be a second at 37, a third at 47, and that would be the only cows we'd get in the 48-month period we're focusing on. So they've got a reproduction rate of 10 months, and that's pretty much all that. And yeah, so not too bad. I mean, the 18-month started breeding is to be expected. There is a few things we've seen with the dairy side where, you know, like they start producing milk at 12 months, even though they haven't even had a calf or even started breeding yet. Again, small changes that just need fixing. If I made a mod tomorrow with all the changes, I'd just call it make sense, because it doesn't make sense. And that's what I'm after. I want it to be more realistic. It's a simulation game at the end of the day, and we want it to try its best. And at the same time, obviously, you play it to have fun and all that. But I just think we could change a few things. Like, I think the max price should be around 24 months maximum. I don't think we should even look at 36 months, to be honest. I think that's way too old for some cattle that are being reproduced to go to slaughter, basically, the beef stock. I think 18 to 24 months is optimal. We should probably get a period there where that's the maximum price. And I think that would work really well, because you could sell your beef stock then at 18 months. They wouldn't even start reproducing out after that, and, you know, they're just for meat. And you could still have your breeding herd that are obviously there for breeding, and they're going to be older than 18 months. So yeah, there's a few things that need adjusting, a few tweaks to make it better. But the main information you need to take from this is 2 things. Grass and meadow is not a good source of feed to condition your animal to getting that final price to sell. And also, month 36 is the best price you will see if you're aiming to doing beef stock and selling a cow. So now we're going to go through the feed consumption for the cows for a single cow from year 1 up to year 4. Now, feed consumption is the same for all types of feeds. So we're only going to we'll just look at silage, because I think that's probably the most common feed type. It's the best feed type, I think, anyway, for feeding beef stock. The only feed type that has a change or effect on anything is slurry production. So let's just look at year 1. 2,684 is what a single cow will consume in the first 12 months of its life. It will consume 602 litres of bedding, and depending on the feed type you're giving it, it can either be 500 litres of slurry produced up to 1,250 if you're feeding it TMR, which you shouldn't do, in my opinion. It's just a waste of feed, a waste of effort and everything, because you're going to get no benefit. You have to ask yourself, what is the point of doing beef stock? It's to sell the cow and reproduce them out. So you obviously sell it for the best price. The best price is reached by just feeding hay or silage. So there's no point in going to TMR. So just, don't see TMR as something that you should be doing, really. Just feed it silage, because you'll get more silage in volume than you would hay anyway, because you can do chaff. You can get like a ×8. I think it is like ×8 every time you chop a field. So that field, for example, so say you've got a field of corn and it's got a certain yield in that field. If you use a forage harvester, it will it instantly just times that by 8, because you're obviously making chaff out of it. So you're always going to get more from probably chaff than you would do with grass. I'd have to test that exactly to see the numbers, but it's pretty much certain that silage is going to be easier for you to make in bulk than it is hay. So in the second year, it jumps up quite a bit. 6,051 litres are consumed by a cow in that second 12-month period, so in year 2 of its life. Straw bedding is 1,426. That's how much it'll take. And again, slurry production is maxed at 2,754, and then grass and meadow do as little as 600. So year 3 and year 4 are the exact same. We've maxed out now at feed consumption of 6,600. That's the maximum a cow is ever going to consume and feed, no matter how many years it's been sitting there breeding out for you. It's 6,600 per cow per year. Doesn't matter what feed it is. And the same with straw bedding. 1,560 is what it will consume in a 12-month period from year 2 onwards. So we're into year 3 now, month 25 to 36. And slurry production, again, they can produce quite a lot when it comes to TMR, 3,000 litres, but it could be as little as 1,200. But you're probably going to get 2,400 litres per cow, because you're going to be hopefully feeding hay or silage. So I'll quickly just put up the table that I've got on my spreadsheet that's just for the slurry produced. So that's just for each year. So we've got year 1, 2, and 3, and 4. This is per cow, depending on feed, because it's the only thing that changes with the feed type. But I'll just leave that up there. You can take a screenshot. This will all go onto my spreadsheet that I've been making. It's version 5 now, I think, which is the 5th tab for beef stock. But yeah, if you want to take a screenshot, there it is. So like my dairy stock and my water buffalo video, I do an example of 25 cows in a 4-year period. So this is just what would happen in a 4-year period. Now, it's a bit of a strange one, because we're always going to have a bit of an overlap, or a delay, you could say, because we're obviously trying to reproduce calves that are going to grow up to the right age to sell and get money from it that way. But there's always going to be delay, because they need to get to potentially 36 months old. So keep that in mind. But this is the best way that I could just do this. And then I'll talk about a rotation that I think is probably the best way to do, console-wise or base game-wise, and then potentially what PC players could do. Now, let's look at them first initial 25 breeding stock. They're going to need feed for 4 years, the full 4 years as they're breeding out. And they're going to consume 548,000 litres. So not too bad, actually, thinking about it. It is only 25 cows. So if you've got more, you're going to need a couple of bunkers, I'd say, of silage to maintain what feed they're going to require. Because I think it's still achievable to fill up a bunker with, let's say 750,000 litres. But if you double that and go to like 50 cows, it starts to become a little bit tricky. And you're going to get so many calves producing that, God, and the overflow of them all as well. It's just going to make it really difficult to manage. It can be done, but it's just a lot of work. And it also should pay off if you really are determined to sell them at that 36-month mark. So next we're going to look at the first round of calves our initial 25 breeding cows will produce. So that's like round 1. They'll only get up to 21 months old, because we're looking at the 4-year period. So by the time the original breeding stock are 48 months old, so that's the 4 years, they'll only be 21 months old. So that you're not going to sell them yet at this price if you go into, the 36 month. But I wanted to show you what feed they would consume too. And they consume 180,000 litres. And then the second round of calves, so the second 25, would only be 11 months old when we hit 4 years, and they'd consume 61,000 litres of silage. And then the final round that would come out, which would be in month 47, so they'd only be a month old, would consume 5,592 litres. So in that 4-year period, the total feed you'd need for all the cows you've reproduced in the original 25, which totals 100 cows, would be 796,000 litres, which is pretty achievable. That's like a full bunker of silage. So you'd do one really good silage harvest and you'd have enough to feed 100 cows through a 4-year period as well. So, quite achievable. So now it was a bit difficult because I'm trying to look at now the money or the income you potentially could make. Now, again, you got to think there is a delay, but from the 75 calves that you've produced that are just for selling and getting to that 36-month mark, if you did get them to the 36-month mark and sold them, you'd get £262,500, which seems like a good amount of money. You've got to divide that, though, by how many years it takes you. It's not like a really good annual income. I think it's definitely more profitable, I'd say, to do like dairy cows or even sheep probably as well with the wool. They make really good, they make a cracking income. And, you could be doing arable work and it'd make you more money than this because it's going to take you 83 months, which is 6 years and 11 months, to get them 75 cows just up to the right age to sell, which is 36 months. So that's what I'm talking about, the delay. Because, yes, it's 48 months that I'm looking at, but if you sold them 75 cows at that price, it would take you 6 years and 11 months in-game. 83 months. It's incredible. This is why I think it would be better if we probably sold them at around 18 months, personally, because it would make things better and you still get the 262,000. But they'd have to adjust, just all you'd have to adjust there is the month we'd see the highest price. So instead of it being 36, it's actually 18. And then it could start dropping from, let's say, 24. So you give it like a short window where the best price is. That's what I would do. I'd change it like that. So let's say you decide, though, I don't want to sell them that. I want to sell them at 18 months old. You'd pick up £173,000, but it'd take 65 months or 5 years and 5 months because of the delay it'd take to get that last round of calves up to the 18-month mark. And if you decided to sell them at 12 months old, you'd get 121,000, and it would take 59 months or 4 years and 11 months. So we've still got a delay there of pretty much 11 months, which is an extra year on top. And you've reduced your income from 262,000 to 121. So a bit of a hit. And that's the problem. Because of that, it's not like I can give you a definitive answer on when the best time to sell is. It's clear that month 36 is the right age for if you want just the most income. But the actual climb of the price of the animal kind of dips a little bit. And it doesn't go up as much from 24 months to 36. So really, the gain might not be as much or worth it to wait 36 months. You have to make that call yourself. Feed isn't something I'm going to take into consideration as a cost because if I actually went into the store menu and bought a bale, it's so much more expensive than what it is to make. It kind of skews the numbers. It makes it look worse than what it is because it's a lot easier to just produce your own feed, and a lot of people are going to be doing that. Like you'd make your own hay, you'd make your own salad. You wouldn't be buying it in bale format from the store. So I'm not going to use them numbers because I just think that's not correct. Probably going to do that in game. They're going to treat it like they make their own feed. And also I haven't taken into account costs like, initial costs for the equipment or water costs or shed building or the shed costs. I mean, this isn't about profitability, really. It's about the potential income you can get, and everything's got to be tailored to your personal circumstance and your save game. So there is no definitive answer on what the best time to sell. All I can tell you is what I would do. As a base game player, I would wait until meadowgrass is fixed. When meadowgrass is fixed, I would have all my stock that I would call conditioning stock, so the ones that are being reared. So say the first round of that 25, I'd call them my conditioning stock. I would put them in a pasture. I'd let them graze just on meadowgrass. I wouldn't do anything else. And even though their health wouldn't go up, I would try and sell them at maybe 36 or 24 months old. And then a couple months before that, I would go and feed them silage to get their health right up to the top, get the maximum price, and then I'm only giving them, a little bit of feed just a couple months before. That's the way I'd do it base game. However, for PC players, when we can start editing stuff, so we get say you're playing on a mod map, I would change the animal XML. I would make their highest price reach at 18 months old. I'd also keep it there so it holds up to 24 months old. And then there'd be no automatic reproduction, and I'd sell all my cows at 18 months old at the highest price. I would do the same method where the meadowgrass is fixed, so I'd let them graze on meadowgrass a couple months before, so say month 16 of the rate of, say when they're 16 months old, I'd feed them silage for 2 months, something like that, to get their health and price right up to the maximum, and then I'd sell them at 18 months old. Now, for console players, talking about that overflow, you're going to need to keep an eye on when they start producing calves, and as soon as they're born, just sell them as an extra bit of income. It's not going to be much. It's going to be like, £90 per calf, but 90 times you know, 25, isn't too bad. It's like, you know, it's technically just under 2.5 grand. And you can do that 3 times. And then it just means you haven't got an overflow that you're going to have to start feeding, put somewhere anyway. I mean, you could keep them, and then just from that, you could keep rearing them out, and, you know, you could get them to grow up to 36 months and sell them. But I would just focus on just having so many, or else you're going to have to build loads of pastures or fill up your pastures to a crazy levels, and then the feed quantities are so much higher. But that's what I would do as a console player. I would, and I know it's not a definitive answer, and apologies for that, but I've tried my very best to just, give you the numbers that I've got. So hopefully you can use these numbers, figure out what's best for you. Let me know in the comment section what you think, though. I'm really intrigued to see what people think. If you're on console, what do you think? If you're on PC, do you agree that it should be around 18 to 24 months? No more than 24 months, I'd say. Do you agree with that? Have you got your own opinion? What would you do? What do you think is the best rotation to do with beef stock in the game? I'm really, really intrigued to know what everyone thinks on it. Anyway, hopefully you've enjoyed it. Hopefully you found it informative. If you have, give it a thumbs up for me, because that really does help me out. And if you're new to the channel, don't forget to hit that subscribe button for more videos just like this one on Farming Simulator. See you, everybody.